In this exercise, we're going to produce a site for a landscape design using a parcel map and the scale, properties palettes, grips, object snap tracking, and join commands. And you see that site on the screen here. We'll begin by setting up the units for our site, and I can type in units at the command line. I want to select engineering for my units, and the precision is 0 feet 0 inches. I'll say OK, and then I'll type in limits to set up my limits or my drawing area. The bottom corner is 0, 0. I'll hit enter, and then I want to type in 170 feet, comma 240 feet for the top right corner. I'll do a zoom all, Z, enter, A, enter, and I'll also set my snap and my grid to be 1 foot for my snap and 10 feet for my grid. To produce my site, I've been given a parcel map from the client, and it looks like this. I can do a screenshot by hitting the print screen key on my keyboard, and then I can go back into AutoCAD and I can hit Control V to paste it. So there's the image. I'll zoom in just a little bit, and then I'll trace over this image using the line command. I'll start in the top right corner. I'm going to turn my snap off, and I'll draw a line from here to here, getting those points from here to here, and then the next line and the next line, and then one more line segment. I can now select the sitemap image and delete it, and I've produced the site. It's not entirely accurate yet, and we can tell that by selecting one of the lines and going to the properties palette by right-clicking. If you look at the length of that line, it's 48 feet 11 inches, whereas it should be 140 feet. Now I can scale this entire site using the scale command, either at the modify panel or by typing in scale at the command line. I'll select all of the objects, hit enter, I'll choose a base point in the top right corner, and then from the command line I'll type in R for reference. And this allows me to specify a reference length, and I'll click 2 points to define this line. Click and click, my second point. That's the reference line. The new length that I want for that is 140 feet, and that comes from the parcel map. So I'll type in 140 feet, enter, and I'll scale it up. Now I got to do a zoom all, Z, enter, A, enter, to get the scale right, and I'll go ahead and move this scaled up site back onto my drawing area right about here. I can check the length of that line again by going to the properties palette, this time from the properties panel, and notice that the length of that line is now 140 feet, which is exactly what I want. If I select another line segment, perhaps this one, notice it's 37 feet 7 inches, which is quite close to the length on the parcel map of 37 feet and 9 inches. Let me check another length. This bottom section is 49 feet 2 inches, whereas it should be 50.38 feet. So it needs to be just a little bit longer, about a foot longer. I can make this segment a foot longer by selecting the other line element that connects to it here, and then turning on my object snap and my object snap tracking from the status bar. Then when I go to my grips here, I can select that line and I can move it down a certain distance. I'm going to zoom in, and if I go back and I touch it, I can get my object snap tracking to work. And what that'll allow me to do, in this case I want to make this line just about a foot longer, is I can type in an extension distance of 1 foot. Don't forget the foot symbol. Enter. And it moves it exactly 1 foot. Now when I check the length of that line, look, it's 50 feet 2 inches, which is just about perfect. Let me check one other line, see how this line is. This line is 162 feet and 8 inches. That's quite accurate too. I'll check the line at the top here. This line is 55 feet 10 inches. And that's quite accurate as well. So if I wanted to make any changes, again, I can simply use my grips here. Let me just make one more change to this. I'm just going to try to get this particular line perfect. It's 50.2 right now. Suppose I want to make it 50.3 inches. I'll select these two lines that connect. I'll left click to heat up that grip, and I'll zoom in a little bit just to improve my accuracy. I do have my snap off at the status bar. And then with O-snap tracking, I'll get the extension and I'll just type in this case, 1 for 1 inch. Enter. And now when I check that line, it should be 1 inch longer. And in fact it is. You see that? It's 50 feet 3 inches. So if I do that for all of my lines, I can eventually get it very accurate. Now, it really doesn't have to be within 1 inch. I'd say within 1 foot is probably good enough for a site drawing like this. The last thing that I want to do here is to join all these lines into one object or one entity. And I can do this with the pedit command, but this time I'm going to use a new command, the join command. J-O-I-N. Join. I'll hit enter. I'll select the objects that I want to join. In this case I want to select all of the lines, and I could also use a crossing window to do that. I'll hit enter, and then I'll select the line to see that it's one object. The advantage of combining this is that the next time that I go to properties, and I'll do it from the panel here, if I look in the area, it gives me the area in square inches and in square feet. 12,986 square feet. And I'm going to use that when I save my drawing. I'll go Save As. I'm going to call this Site, and then 12,986, the square feet of my site, and I'll say Save. And I've completed my site drawing.